So now we understand the importance of photography in marketing, branding, and the different options out there for us in terms of photography within this realm. The next aspect is understanding how it ties into our wider marketing strategy. So photography isn't something that should just be created on its own. It should always be part of a wider marketing strategy. So, for example, we're launching a new Volca line. And one of the things that we need to do as part of launching this new Volca line is make sure that we've got the logo, the product labels, the physical bottle, the recipe already. But in terms of the marketing aspect, we want to know what story we're going to tell. We're probably going to have a long list of copy outlining the identity of the product. Then we're probably going to want some imagery that's going to be used to actually market the product. That's potentially going to go on billboards or posters or pay-per-click marketing on social media. Once the marketing strategy has been decided upon, a photography brief needs to be established around that. A photography brief basically outlines everything that a photographer or yourself is going to need to know in order to execute the photography that is required for our new Volca bottle. So a photography brief should outline the following: aims of the project, an introduction to the business, basically saying who we are, a spirit manufacturer, outline the objectives. So are we trying to build brand awareness? Are we creating imagery for adverts? Are we trying to document the process of actually creating the vodka? And potentially it's a mix of these, and each one of these needs direction on each aspect to make sure that we get all of the photographs that we actually need. It should also cover who the campaign is aimed at. This will heavily influence the actual styling of the imagery. So then we need a style guide, and that's going to have a mood board showing some potential inspiration, reference images, some existing brand visuals, should we have them, other brands that inspire us, a potential color palette, props, all these sorts of things. And finally, if your business has it, brand guidelines. The next thing we need to cover is a shot list. And that shot list is basically going to outline what images we need, where the images are going to be used, and the different types of images. So like we discussed earlier, the different categories of photography. And then there's an assessment that needs to be made of who's required. So if you're just a small business, it's probably only going to be you and the photographer. If you're a global multinational, there could be 100 people that work on this entire shoot. The photographer, models, photo retouchers, but also people that work on the pre-production phase, like designing the set or doing the legal insurance aspects, hairstylists, makeup stylists, producers. The list is endless, but we need to make an assessment of everything that's going to be required on the day. Then location, where are the photographs going to be taken? Is it in the studio? Is it in a rental property? Is it in our offices? Is it in a particular location out in the countryside? Then the schedule, so when is the photo shoot going to take place? When do we need the images by? When does pre-production need to be finished? When's the date of the actual shoot? When do the images need to actually be back with the business? Ideally, we need deadlines for the photographer to work to. Then the budget, how much can we afford to actually spend on this photography campaign? And knowing that the cost of photography isn't just having the images created, there's lots and lots of different aspects that go into the actual cost of the photography. We already talked about the team of people there and potentially the location, but we might need to rent equipment and props and backgrounds and styling. There are many, many different cost factors that go into a photo shoot. And then the final thing is imagery licensing. So where images are actually going to be distributed, you will need a license from the photographer and allowing you to use those images in that place. It wouldn't be reasonable for a huge multinational company to use images from a particular photographer across the globe on televisions, on billboards, all over the world, and pay them the same price as a local cafe does for their imagery. Now, that cafe is probably only going to put them in the shop window. As such, the photographer is probably not going to charge them a very high fee to license them to do that. These huge multinational companies, on the other hand, are going to pay pretty big usage to get those images out in the world. Now, I know that's a huge amount of things to think about and cover in your photography brief. For smaller shoots, you don't need to go into that much detail, but the more prepared you are, the more pre-production is done before the actual day of the shoot, the more likely you are to return the results that you actually want imagery that is relevant to your brand, high quality imagery, and most importantly, avoid any mistakes on the day. I've actually included a template to help you put together your brief for your next photo campaign.